All right, so today we're diving into the metro system of one of the world's truly great cities. And look, this isn't just going to be about trains and tracks. It's actually a super complex story about politics, about identity, and get this, a hidden rivalry that totally shapes the daily commute for millions of people.
So, if you've ever used the metro in Greater Taipei, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is so clean, it's efficient, and everything just works, right? You tap your card, you switch between lines, and you get where you need to go without even thinking about it. From your perspective as a rider, it feels like one single, unified, absolutely brilliant system.
Okay, but what if I told you that seamless experience is, well, kind of an illusion? It's like this masterpiece of cooperation that's hiding a really deep, ongoing conflict. You see, what you're actually riding are two totally different metro systems. They're run by two separate companies and, you guessed it, controlled by two competing city governments. So yeah, let's pull back the curtain on this hidden turf war.
So how did one of the world's best metro networks end up with two different captains trying to steer the same ship? Well, the answer, as it so often does, really just comes down to politics and a classic quest for local control.
You know, for decades, it was pretty simple. The Taipei Rapid Transit Corporation, we'll call them TRTC, was founded back in '94 to just run the whole show. But here's the thing, new Taipei City started getting bigger, even bigger than Taipei itself, and the political pressure just kept mounting. So fast forward to 2018, and bam, new Taipei gets its very own company, the NTMC. This whole thing really came to a head in 2023, when after this huge political fight, control of the super important circular line was officially handed over to new Taipei. And just like that, the split was complete.
And this quote, man, it just nails the core issue. The creation of a second metro company wasn't about making the trains run better or faster. No way. It was a political move, plain and simple. It was all driven by new Taipei's desire for its own autonomy, for control over its own infrastructure. It was really about identity, not just, running trains.
Okay, so to really understand this rivalry, you've got to know the players. And it's not just two companies, it's a little more complicated. For each city, you've got a government agency that builds the lines, that's the DORTs. And then you've got a corporation that actually operates them. So on one side, you have Taipei's TRTC. They're the veteran, the old guard, managing most of the network with a whopping 2 million riders every day. And on the other side, you've got new Taipei's NTMC. They're the newcomer, running the newer lines for about 100,000 riders, but they're also in charge of this massive expansion called the Three-Ring Six Lines. So what you end up with is four really powerful organizations, and their goals don't always line up.
Now, you'd think with this super complicated setup, the whole thing would be a mess for the average person, right? But it's not. The system works incredibly well. And this is the love part of their love-hate relationship. This is where all that cooperation creates that amazing seamless experience we were talking about earlier.
And what's so wild is just how deep this cooperation actually goes. I mean, the fares are completely integrated. You can use the same card anywhere, get your transfer discounts across both systems, no problem. They actually coordinate their route planning so the lines connect seamlessly. They share technology standards to make sure everything's compatible. They even run joint crisis response drills. There's even this thing called the Metro Taiwan Alliance, a formal group they created just to share resources. So for you, the rider, it just feels like one big network.
And hey, if you want proof that this cooperation works, the results can be, well, staggering. Just take a look at the T-Pass program. This was a joint monthly pass they launched in 2023. The impact? It was immediate, and it was massive. Public transit use shot up by a full 16%. And not just in Taipei, we're talking across the entire country. It's just powerful, undeniable proof that when these two rivals actually team up, everybody wins.
But that's only half the story, right? Because underneath all that successful, happy cooperation, there's this constant simmer of conflict. And this is the hate side of the relationship. It's an ongoing battle for money, for control, and of course, for political influence.
And really, no single project illustrates this conflict better than the circular line. Think of it like this crucial orbital route that connects the two cities. It basically became the ultimate prize in their ongoing turf war.
I mean, this fight went on for years. New Taipei's argument was pretty straightforward. They were like, hey, look at the map. Most of the line is in our city. It's serving our residents. We should run it. Makes sense, right? But then Taipei fires back saying, whoa, hold on. Our agency, DORTS, is the one that actually built it. And our operator, TRTC, has decades of experience that your new company just doesn't have. It became this huge political standoff that in the end needed the national government to step in and finally sort it out.
And the conflict over the circular line, it's not just about who's in control. It's also about accountability.
So get this, after a major earthquake in 2024, some serious construction defects caused a ton of damage. And in this moment of painful irony, the two rivals were forced to cooperate again, this time to jointly sue the construction firm for a staggering 1.93 billion new Taiwan dollars. They're trying to fix the very prize they were just fighting so hard over.
And believe me, the friction goes way beyond just that one line. For one thing, there's no set formula for how to pay for new projects. So every single time they want to expand, it kicks off this tense, complex negotiation over who's going to pay for what. On top of that, you've got the shifting politics at the national level, which can suddenly slash funding and force the cities to compete even more fiercely for whatever resources are left. And of course, the big one, when the mayors are from different political parties, oh yeah, a simple operational issue can explode into a massive, public political battle.
So what do we have here? This really strange dynamic of intense cooperation and intense competition, all happening at the exact same time. It raises a huge question. What does this messy, complicated relationship actually mean for the future of transit? And not just in Taipei, but for big cities everywhere.
Well, probably the best way to describe what's going on here is this idea of competitive cooperation. It's a model where you have two rivals that are essentially locked together. They literally can't succeed without each other. So they're forced to collaborate on the big shared goals, like, a transit system that actually works, all while they're still fighting tooth and nail to protect their own autonomy and their own interests.
And here's the kicker. Despite all the fighting, their future is actually one of even deeper integration. This massive 3 rings and 6 lines plan is a multi-billion-dollar project that's going to weave their networks together like never before. At the end of the day, they have no choice. They have to make the cooperation work, even if the competition itself never, ever fully goes away.
So what this all points to is a really fascinating contradiction, isn't it? We usually just assume that a single, unified authority is the best, most efficient way to run something as complex as a metro system. But the tale of Taipei's 2 metros, it kind of offers a different lesson. It leaves us with this big question, especially for our future of sprawling megacities. Is this messy, competitive, but ultimately functional model of cooperation actually better, maybe even more resilient, than clean, simple, unified control? It's definitely something to think about on your next ride.